as we know it. Hi, I'm Zed, your local authority on nothing, but if I speak in the right tone, you'll listen. You're probably here because you saw this video I made almost 3 months ago. This is a sequel to that video, and we'll be building off the topics I discussed, the conclusions I came to about what's happening in Hololive. Watch that video first so you're not confused when I start rambling in circles again. A summary will not suffice. You will have to watch my previous video. I am not going to hold your hand, except for a later portion of this video where I kind of summarize what I said, but you should probably watch it anyway for the full context. Now that my disclaimer as to why this sounds like the ramblings of a cantankerous madman are over, I have another. You will not agree with everything I say in this video, and that's okay. Hololive, VTubing, and the culture surrounding streaming all mean something different to everyone. This unhinged mess is mine, and mine alone. But it comes from a place of love. Because I love Hololive, and I love VTubers. I love the culture surrounding this otaku-adjacent hobby, and I love it enough that when I see it evolving in a way that I don't love, I feel like I gotta say something about it. So to start, I am a ruffian, and I want to marry Fuwamoko. Also, this video is not about Gawr Gura. Okay, so it is about her and her graduation and everything that's happened since, but it's also about a bigger idea, because the more I watched events unfold after her graduation announcement, the more I looked at what Hololive was doing before and after she graduated, and the more I saw this through the lens of the wider VTuber community, something inside of me snapped. And this absolute clusterfuck of a video is the result. So in reality, Gawr Gura and her impact on Hololive and what's next for her and the company are really the anchor points for this larger subject that I'd like to bring up. That being the subject of change and what it really means to have something you love become something you're afraid you'll stop loving. But first, heartbreak! On April 15th, 2025, Gawr Gura announced her graduation from Hololive. The news came as a shock to many who had not been watching her streams. I hate to be the sharp claw on the chumbud's side, but her decision to leave Hololive was, to put it lightly, a long time coming. Ever since her health issues at the end of 2022, Gura hasn't streamed as frequently as she used to. She'd return in smaller capacities, often streaming for weeks at a time, before leaving for months at a time. Now, I'm not here to speculate about the health of Hololive's most popular talent, but I think her graduation video speaks for itself about why she decided to leave the company.
It was incredibly exciting, but also very intense and unexpected to be suddenly surrounded by so many eyes and expectations. I remember there being many days where the stress was so overwhelming that I couldn't eat or keep food down. But the continuous support and patience of my wonderful community helped to lessen that feeling.
Now, Gura's graduation is the last, as of writing, in a long string of graduations that have been happening since the middle of 2024. These graduations have hit both the English and Japanese branches of Hololive, with various members leaving for various reasons. But Gura's does hit the hardest because I don't want to downplay this. Gura was streaming for almost 5 years. She had become, undeniably, the most popular VTuber under Hololive's branch, arguably the face of the company from a global perspective, arguably the face of VTubing from a global perspective. She's touched the hearts of millions of people, used her cuteness energy to help the Dodgers win the World Series, stolen gallons, so I'm told. Despite her decision to leave, both for her health and due to those tried and true disagreements with management being telegraphed, it wasn't easy to hear. The reality made a lot of people, including me, upset with Hololive itself. And there are plenty of reasons for that. In my previous video, I discussed how Hololive has been prioritizing growth. Mostly I talked about how they've been trying to grow through more big events and merch that see their talents crossing over in ways that get people to spend more money. I theorized the reason why a lot of older talents were leaving was because of how these changes were impacting the streaming-focused job they signed up for. The Hololive they once knew no longer exists, or at least someday soon, it will no longer exist in the capacity they signed up for. But I think for Gura, it's more nuanced than that, because while she is a talented streamer, of course, the actor behind the avatar is also a very creative person, to put it lightly if I'm being honest. Because before she was Gura, she was Senzawa, and all it takes is one look at her channel to tell that she is more than just a streamer. She's an artist, and Gura laid bare her soul on April 19th with the release of her final big project for Hololive, Ash Again. Written and produced by Casey Edwards of Devil May Cry 5 fame, the song is a very introspective, layered story about all the pain she's had to endure over the last 2 years. Because yes, the song had been in production for that long, just a few months after her first health hiatus. The song has so many nuances to it that I could make an entire video just talking about my interpretation regarding its connection to her career, and her future. So I'm going to do my best to condense those thoughts here because I think they're important to what I'm trying to say as a whole. The song is about fame. It's about someone who doesn't want to be in the spotlight, who feels the various pressures of what being on the throne does. It's lonely at the top, and this song perfectly encapsulates those feelings. That isolation in the first verse as voices tell her to do better, her inner thoughts, management, hell, even her fans, is complemented by scenes of her trapped in a room, fighting between two sides of herself, a good versus evil in her mind. That becomes more apparent and outward in the second verse, when a serious version of Gura, one willing to destroy to march forward, takes control, destroying ships in a layered scene as the lyrics say she's going to burn it all down. As the video goes on, her kindness sinks into the ocean. But her friends, the other members of Myth, are there to support her, and she fights, but also accepts that darker part of herself as something that will always be inside her. The conflicting duality exists, but she has found some way of making peace with it, and the best way to do that is to move on, to go through the door to what's next. I find it surprising this wasn't supposed to be her final project at Hololive originally, because I think, between the lyrics and the visuals, it's clear that Gura wanted to leave, that this was what was best for her. I mean, once your job is getting so difficult on your mental psyche you can't keep food down, it's probably time to find a way to get the fuck out of there. So, despite how bittersweet her leaving was, it also made the most sense for her. It was time to burn it down and start again. I think Gura leaving Hololive was a good thing. The sentiments she expressed in her final weeks at the company, alongside the messages of Ash again, make it sound like this was the right decision for her to make. It doesn't mean it was easy, mind you. Imagine having to tell millions of people with their eyes glued to everything you do under your persona that you're quitting and never coming back. It's heartbreaking for both parties, even if it is, ultimately, the best decision for the person involved. It still hurts knowing that, 5 years from now, Gura will be but a distant memory, a VTuber we loved, once, but whose presence is no longer in the here and now. It's bittersweet. Well, at least we've got new VTubers debuting all the time these days. You know, there's this one that's been hyped up a lot, Sameko Saba. She hasn't streamed yet, but has a pretty big following so far. Not sure why, might check her out. So Gura won, basically. She burned it all down, left Hololive, and is off pursuing her own goals. But I don't think that makes Hololive the bad guy in this scenario either. You see, since my last video, where I expressed a deep concern for the direction Hololive was going and what's been driving so many of its biggest talents away, I've come to a surprising conclusion. When Gura announced her graduation, I asked myself how Hololive and Gura were unable to come to any form of agreement that would keep her on, especially given she is, you know, the biggest VTuber in the world. But I think that question has been answered through her graduation announcement and through Ash again. And now that the dust has settled and a month has passed, I've reached a small, little revelation. The VTubing sphere needs Hololive. In fact, Hololive is good, actually, and I fully understand why the talents left and why Hololive will be continuing without them. But there's nuance to this statement. Nuance that, even while I was writing this paragraph, I didn't fully understand, because I don't plan these videos out in advance. Look, the Dr. Thunder is just starting to tingle the neurons in my brain, so it'll all make sense, okay? First off, everyone who left Hololive, completely understandable. Some had personal reasons, some didn't like the direction the company is going in. 2 of the English graduates already have strong indie VTuber careers of their own now. Nimi's model is sexier than Fauna's. It's all completely justified. At the same time, I think Hololive has a fundamental role in the VTubing community, not just because of its seniority as a company, but also because of the culture behind the company. You see, Hololive has a very multifaceted yet similar culture surrounding all its female streamers, singing and dancing, and basically they're all digital idols to some degree. Yes, some are more dedicated to the role, like my Kamiyoshis, than others, but there is a prevailing sense that Hololive is founded on ideas related to idol culture. Their most successful girls are the ones who sing and dance, and who embrace both streaming and live events in equal measure. Now, what I'm about to say next may sound controversial, but I'm right, so I don't care. There is nothing wrong with Hololive embracing idol culture, and I think they should do it more. Now, for some reason, every time the words idol culture are treated in a positive positive context, the entire normal cattle Western Hemisphere is set on fire. Images of rabid fans who scream and cry during concerts, where good-looking people in carefully designed clothing sing and dance for their amusement, where they go online and post images of their favorites, defending their honor or commenting under every post, behaving under the guise that they're in a relationship with these performers and taking everything they do seriously. They're willing to go to extreme lengths to get them to notice them or defend their honor. And oh wait, sorry, I was looking at my boy band fans and K-pop stans notes. I'm so sorry. It's easy to get the two mixed up. The parts of idol culture that bother the dullard's mind so much are no worse than the parts of music culture involving young male singers that have defined boy band fans for decades and Western K-pop fans for years. How many teenage girls do you think get upset when there are rumors that their favorite members of insert K-pop group here, I don't listen to them, has a girlfriend? Those elements of fan loyalty and expectation the performer will be just as loyal to them are part and parcel of both cultures. Of course Fuwamoko aren't my wives, but the parasocial fiction of that idea isn't wrong to have, especially when the talents themselves, the people performing, are okay with pushing it.
The question is, what is the relationship between Fuwamoko and ruffians? Example, just friends, family, or dot. Well, for us, you're someone very, very, very important and dear to us. You know, someone we look up to, someone that we know will be there for us during hard times. Hopefully. Hopefully. I'm not doubting it, right?
No, I'm not doubting it.
No. But if you think of us as your family or daughters, then we're your daughters.
Yeah.
And if we're best buddies, then best buddies. And if it's something else, then... It's a bit embarrassing, but do you understand? Understand?
And of course, there will be people that take it too far. There always are. But the majority of people can separate the reality from the fantasy. It's like wrestling. I know John Cena didn't get convinced by the crowd to try and win one last championship belt before retiring. I know it's fiction. And while there is that reality of viewer and streamer having that deeper connection because there's a direct interaction, there's nothing wrong with playing up those idol ideas for entertainment. That something more. You realize Fuwamoko, they like being idols. Like, they have dedicated themselves to becoming the best singers and dancers they can possibly be because they like Japanese idol culture. They like it. If you watch Fuwamoko, you are watching twin demon guard dogs that want to be treated like idols. And that mindset for them is fitting because idol culture has always been a staple of Hololive. Even before all the big concerts and world tours, Hololive's first generation was led by Tokino Sora, a virtual idol. Is Hololive risking a lot by focusing too much on big events and merch and everything I said in my last video? Yes, I do think so. But after looking at the company's history and the talents that have stayed, I believe this direction was inevitable. This push for singing and dancing and more idol-focused activities was always going to happen, because these big events are part of Hololive's DNA and have been the goal from the very beginning. That's not to say they don't need to strike a balance, of course. I'm glad to see Fuwamoko starting to stream more often on their own, even if there are still events like Enigmatic Recollection they need to participate in. That direct connection between streamer and viewer still needs to exist, and I do feel like Hololive could still do more to prioritize it despite how much money the big events and merchandise rake in. But that balance between personal connection to streamers and big performance events still should be kept in mind. Now, you're probably wondering, Zed, you fuck. Why all the harping on about idol culture and its connection to Hololive? That's not the only thing that defines the VTubers Undercover's umbrella. Aren't you forgetting something? Me? Forgetting something? You want to know who's forgetting something? The Hololive EN Zitter account. I have to talk about it. I have to. That's part of why we're here. That's why this video is more scattered and shit-strung than the last one, so we might as well just rip the band-aid off. On April 30th, 2025, or May 1st if you were in Japan, Gura held her final live performance, a 26-minute mini-live commemorating her graduation. A mini-live that she performed alone on a 3D soundstage that oftentimes looked colorless and dilapidated, switching from song to song in rapid fire, with the standouts being full performances of Ride on Time and Ash Again. She delivered some sweet words before an emotional animation played of her going back into the sea, and it struck me as very, very strange. Gawr Gura, the biggest talent in all of Hololive, received a quick, underwhelming send-off on an empty stage by herself without anyone around her. I don't know if this was supposed to symbolize her lonely at the top ideas presented in Ash Again. For all I know, that was the point. But I don't think so. And here's why. On the day Gura graduated, the Hololive EN account on the website formerly known as Twitter reposted her graduation announcement. Keyword, being reposted. And then they proceeded to directly post about Holostars Tempest's new outfits. Okay, if you just watch clips, you're gonna want to leave because I'm about to make you upset. I don't care for Holostars. I have no intention of watching male VTubers. That's not what I'm here for. I am here for the aforementioned idol side of cover, the side with the cute girls doing cute things. But for some reason, there seems to be this push as of late to try and emphasize Hololive and Holostars as being on equal ground. We're going to get into why that is soon. The twisted web of madness I'm about to weave will eventually come back to this point, but first, we need to start at it before we circle back around. Hololive and Holostars are not on equal ground. Out of all the changes that I've seen happen in Hololive in recent times, the push for more crossover with Holostars has been the most worrisome. Now, first off, I'm not about to get as crazy as you think yet. It's a snowball effect, just stick with me. In both the Japanese and English branches, there seems to be an attempt to associate Hololive and Holostars more directly with one another. For one, there have been some mixed signals involving just how much management is trying to push the idea of Hololive talents and Holostar talents working together. Ichijo Ririka, I hope I said that right, of Hololive Regloss went on record in May saying that she denied multiple attempts by management to have her collaborate with Holostar's members. However, Koyori of HoloX also said in May that she doesn't even see Holostar's members and their roles in the company are incredibly separate. So there seems to be a public push to give Holostars a bigger spotlight, while it seems based on the talent whether they work with Hololive members or not. And it's probably very management specific too, depending on what certain managers think would be best for the brand or whatever. But managers don't know what I know. When Elden Ring first launched, I stayed awake for 7 hours teaching myself the controls of my first Souls-like. I killed a horse, then rage quit. I believe, strongly believe, actually, that pushing for collaborations between Hololive and Holostars will do more harm to Hololive than good. And even though I don't watch Holostars myself, I think it will do them just as much damage. Yes, we are going to tie this back into Gura's graduation at some point, as soon as I figure out how. Remember when Crony did a Holostars collaboration and the firestorm was so bad Cover had to put out a statement saying talents can collab with whoever they wanted, and then she stopped collabing with them and leaned into the more idol-adjacent aspects of VTubing? I really do wonder why that is. Why was that decision so short-lived? Now, first off, there are talents who made it apparent right from the start that they would be collaborating with Holostars. The Australian sex rat of Hololive Promise and ERB from Justice telegraphed right from the beginning they will stream with the guys. I think this is perfectly fine. I think if Cover wants to use those talents as a bridge between Hololive and Holostars, we can sing Kumbaya all the live long day. There are people who want to see male and female streamers interact, and it's clear those talents are part of that pool, and that Hololive is okay with them doing so. But then there are talents who, from the very beginning, indicated they would not be doing collaborations with Holostars. That their brand, implicit or explicit, would be about a cute girl doing cute things. First impressions are everything. So if you're going to change your tune after a long time of doing the same thing, it is going to rub some people the wrong way. Okay, so Shiori. Look, there was this whole mess that happened a while back when Shiori, after over a year and a half of only streaming with her fellow Hololive girls, suddenly started streaming with Holostars members. It was, to put it lightly, a complete fucking disaster. Longtime fans of Shiori started vocalizing how they latched onto her because of her cute girl persona, and that adding a Holostar to the mix just stirred the pot too much. Also something about how the member involved, Gerard, was a bad person to collaborate with, but I don't know enough about that to properly say anything. What I do know is that everyone who even slightly criticized the collab was getting blocked and banned by Shiori. Or her mods, whatever fits your narrative. Even people with long-standing memberships and who were proven avid fans of hers were getting blocked. All drowned out to the tune of people on Zitter talking about how wacky and wild the collab was going to be and that she shouldn't listen to the unicorns trying to stifle her decisions. Contrary to the narrative some have tried pushing, Shiori's viewership did not fall because of this collaboration, nor did it fall because of the frequent collaborations she's done with Holostars members since then. It didn't get better either, but it definitely didn't drop. So I want you to understand that what I am saying is coming from my own perspective. The perspective of someone who is watching Hololive for the girls, for the idol-adjacent culture, and for the connection between talent and audience. I watch a VTuber debut. She says in her debut stream that she is open to collaborating with anyone, implying she's okay with crossing over with both the women and the men in her company.
Now, before I end stream, regarding collaborations, let me get close to your face. Is this good for you? I will be collaborating with friends and people who may be potential friends. Now, this is possibly quite rare, simply because I have to study people. I have to study characters to understand them. The more often you see them, the more likely they have reached friend status. But you will not really know unless I mention so. So please respect those around me, okay? You wish to be a good boy for me, don't you? Or perhaps a good girl? I will not tolerate disrespect after all.
Okay, she's open and honest. Fine. I'm usually not for it, but since she seems entertaining, I'll give it a chance. For the next year and a half, that VTuber fully embraces the idol-adjacent aspects of her company, the cute girls doing cute things side of the aisle. Okay, I think to myself, it looks like she's gone back on what she originally said and is embracing the girls' side of things like most of the other talent. But then, after over 18 months, the length of 2 pregnancies, your now favorite VTuber decides now is the time to fulfill that statement she made all the way back in her debut stream, hasn't brought up since, and starts streaming with her male coworkers. Starts mentioning them in solo streams to her audience. Starts dialing back from the cute girls doing cute things angle her actions had been defined as. I fully and completely understand why people got upset or decided to stop watching Shiori after her Gerard collab. And as someone who never watched her but wanted to at some point, I'm not going to. I'm not saying she can't collaborate with Holostars. If that's what she wants to do, it's within her right, nobody can stop her, and it's clear that there are plenty of people who want to see her interact with them. But that doesn't mean I need to watch her, because she no longer embodies the elements of Hololive that I'm here to see. Crony and Shiori's Holostars collaborations illustrate that, when talents who are firmly established within Hololive's idol culture break away from that, people are gonna get mad. A lot of people are gonna get mad. And sure, they have every right to pursue the content that they want to create, just like people who are watching for the girls and girls only have every right to step away.
I just want all of you to have a happy ending. And I wish all for you to simply smile. And if I am not the one that can make you smile, that is okay.
Did you know that there are multiple, mind you, so-called ruffians on Zitter who think it would be a good idea for Fuwamoko to collab with Holostars? Let me just let that sink in for a minute. Fuwamoko, Holostars. A good idea. Have you ever watched a Fuwamoko stream? Or is your only exposure to them based on clips with sexual joke bait thumbnails? Do you even know they sang a song from fucking Maggot Baits in one of their rock and roar parties? Like, I'm sorry, but you have to be willingly avoiding watching Fuwamoko for more than like 10 minutes if you think they should collab with Holostars. Not like they would anyway.
White gloves. Why not?
Hello, base department. I've got 2 security dogs who would be just right for your night shift. Are people making this out to be a much bigger deal than it is? Yeah, it's the fucking internet. That's what we all do. Do you know how much I want to make a video about the changes they made to the Hot Pocket? Like, you got rid of the fucking pocket. You're just serving me a calzone slab. And now you're starting to sell them in these bulk 4-packs instead of 2. Do you realize how inconvenient that is? How much space that takes up in my freezer? Oh, sure, try and bribe me with your pepperoni and ranch. It's not gonna work. You've already taken the pocket part of my pockets away. How am I supposed to trust anything you say again? The prioritization of Holostars during the time frame of Gura's graduation, coupled by a very short, small-scale end to her massive career, makes me worried about where Hololive's priorities lie. I said it in the last video, and I'll say it again. I don't want Hololive to forget where they came from. And, for me, I think trying to mesh Hololive and Holostars under the same umbrella is going to push people away more than it will bring them together. But now, I want to ask a bit of a loaded diaper of a question. If Hololive is actively pushing for some of its talents to collaborate with Holostars, or allows its talents to collaborate with them if they want to, so much, how does that positively impact their business? Well, it's simple. Mass appeal. The thing that's ruined everything since time immemorial. See, big investors are usually the last people to see what direction the pendulum is swinging in. And, like it or not, Hololive's success is because of its female talents. Because of both male and female viewers, of course. But that parasocial bond between a male viewer and female streamer is probably the strongest one there is. Unfortunately, big investors can't feel. Much like a wasp building a nest in the side of your house, they scaffold their own creation out of pieces of your home and sting you whenever you come near. According to the spirit of a revolutionary soldier I've trapped in my Ouija board, there is one very specific reason why Hololive is pushing for Holostars, whether through posts that bury graduation announcements or through suggested collabs. They're trying to make them more profitable, and they hope that by seeing the company's biggest talents, the women, interacting with them, they can get people interested in them, in buying Holostars merch alongside Hololive merch. That's what this is, not some grand conspiracy to denounce their idol roots. No, it's much simpler than that. It's about the money. It's about getting people to buy voice packs and merchandise of the boys just as much as the girls. Because there's really no debating it, they just aren't as popular, and Cover wants them to become just as popular, even if it's a slow climb. Hey everyone, Zed from the Gene Timeline here. Don't you just love how it takes so long for me to get videos out that things happen, even while I'm in the middle of editing, that I need to address? In this instance, on Thursday, June 26th, an official Holostars EN account was created on Zitter. As of writing, it has no posts, but its Hololive affiliation button tells me it's legitimate. Now, what this means in terms of Cover trying to make Holostars profitable, I don't know. If I had to place a bet, I think this could be a test to see how well a Holostars social media account will perform on its own, separate from its affiliation with Hololive. Does this mean the Hololive EN account will stop posting about the guys? I hope so, but only time will tell. For now, this is a very new development. So new, in fact, that I rushed to write and record this while in the middle of editing this video. If my theory about Cover trying to make the boys profitable is correct, then maybe they have a plan that doesn't coincide with using the girls to prop them up. But only time will tell. And now, back to your regularly scheduled shitstorm. But here's the thing. Embracing that direction is also damaging to Hololive's brand association of cute girls doing cute things. Okay, we're getting into the mind break jungle here, so buckle the fuck up. I think this is why the members of Hololive Justice are who they are. There's a very breaking the norm of Hololive culture feel to them that is different from the other EN talents. ERB is a huge fan of Holostars and made it apparent right away. Gigi Murrin recently came out as normal. There's a fucking obsessive cult of people on social media who ship her and Cecilia Immergreen, like, to the point of psychotic madness. Honestly, I could probably make a whole video on what the mainstream Hololive fanbase has turned into, but, you know, glass houses and all, I need enough rocks first. And Rayora Panthera, who I don't know much about. Yes, they all sing, yes, they all dance, yes, they all participate in the idol and merch and voice pack side of things that makes Hololive its money. But there is a very clear, distinct association that they have, which makes them more open to versatility in the company. I mean, the group leader spent her first week interacting more with Holostars than anyone else. It says something about the priorities of Justice, which is to entertain on a broader scale than those who have come before. And look, if that's the direction Hololive wants to go with their new talents, it's not like I can stop them. I'm a fucking anime avatar on the internet who's never gonna watch anything regularly besides Fuwamoko. Plus, it's not like what I just said is a wholesale definition of justice. I mean, their participating in the recent bridal voice pack is proof enough that, yes, Hololive understands that parasocialism sells. But if something like EN Gen 5 tries to go for that mass appeal on a broader scale, it could damage the niche that Hololive has. Businessmen do not understand fun. They cannot conceive of the notion of anything other than appealing to the lowest common denominator and the widest audience possible in order to make money. Until Advent get Beach Episode 3D Live swimsuits, I'm going to assume the investors don't understand what they've invested in, and that Hololive is, for whatever reason, scared of being themselves. Will I ever watch Hololive Justice? Yeah, I might check out Cecilia. I like green women, and I never said I wasn't a hypocrite. But I think, based on the way Gura graduated, the recent propping up of Holostars, the talents willing to break away from cute girl doing cute things ideals, and Justice drawing in a very different audience than anyone else, I fear we are in for some major changes at how Hololive presents itself to the world. Changes that are not going to benefit the company long term. Different things can appeal to different people, and that's okay. In fact, art and entertainment are better when it is appealing to a small category of people instead of trying to impress everyone. Hololive has its cute girls doing cute things angle, Holostars has its own small fan base, and that's fine. But it's when those fan bases merge, especially for those like me who enjoy the more popular cute girl aspect of Cover's Hololive, that things start to sour when people get negative. And negativity is not good for business, because then what's supposed to be fun becomes a massive pile of shit. I do not want to see Hololive become an argument. I even hope the same for Holostars, even though I don't watch them. I get that Hololive wants to bolster their male talents, and I get that they want to have female talents that appeal to more people than those steeped in the company's idol culture. But if they go too far, they will forget where they came from, and it will bite them in the ass. I want Hololive to succeed. And I am worried that, if they start to phase out the idol-adjacent mindsets of older talents in favor of cross-branch collabs and appealing to normal cattle, it's going to lose its identity. It's going to lose what makes me and so many other people love it. It's better for something to be unique than to try and be a bland copy of every other big VTuber company in existence. Alright, let's bring these fecal cave painting arguments full circle. I think, as Hololive enters this post-Gura era, because let's face it, that's what a lot of people are going to call it years from now, they need to be careful. There are multiple balancing acts they need to consider as they continue down this path of infinite growth. Everything I said in my first video rings true. Hololive still needs to find a balance between streaming and big events so as not to burn their talents out or become stagnant by forgetting their real superpower. That power being the audience's love for their talents. At the same time, they also need to be careful about the idol culture elements that define them. It's one thing for talents to collab with Holostars from the start of their career. It's another for it to happen at the flick of a switch after over a year. But it's a completely different beast when Holostars outfits are getting dedicated posts while the graduation of your biggest talent ever only gets a retweet. If Hololive doesn't prioritize what makes it special, someone else is going to recognize the gap in the industry and capitalize on their poor decision. Arguably, someone already has. Twitter praise does not translate into merch sales. Trying to twist Hololive into something it's not isn't going to lead to success. You'll just become interchangeable with Nijisanji and Vshoujo instead of embracing what makes your most successful talents so beloved by so many. If you don't stick to what makes you special, then what are you but another pallid face in a pallid crowd? Now, how does all of this tie into Gura? Simple. She doesn't have to worry about any of that shit anymore. When she reincarnates, theoretically of course, none of these changes happening at Hololive will impact her. She won't have to deal with the potential pressure of doing Holostars collabs or the balance between streaming, events, and projects. She can just be who she is, the way she's always wanted to be. Yes, she is always going to be successful, and that fame is going to follow her everywhere. I just hope that, because she's no longer the face of a big company, she can rest easy when it comes to pleasing her fans. Despite the changes that are happening and will continue to happen at Hololive, I am happier knowing that their former lead talent was firm in her decision to graduate for the sake of herself over anyone else. So, despite all my bitching, I want to end this ramble on a positive note. Gura, or whoever you are, I wish you nothing but the best for the future, and I will be there every step of the way to watch your journey unfold. You don't need to impress anyone. Just keep being you. Like you said at the end of your graduation video, I am excited for your future. You were the one who got me into Hololive, into VTubers, and inspired me to be a kinder, more creative person. Thank you. I can't wait to see where your new beginning takes you.